Hello, fellow traders. 'Tis I, the Rumpled One. It is Friday, July the 20th, the year 2018. Let's talk trading. Weekly wrap up. Yesterday I had mentioned, or maybe it was the day before, something about squiggly lines and the DMA 2814 bar shift. And I received an email from a trader that said, well, if oscillators are working for me, why should I give them up? Well, one of the things that I've said repeatedly is that a trader has to find their own way. And if something works for you, then keep doing it. You don't have to listen to me or anybody else. I mean, if something's working for you and somebody's telling you it doesn't work, well, if the empirical evidence shows that it does, then just ignore what the other person's saying. I mean, really, I'm not out here to force my way upon anybody. I share it freely. You can either, you can take from it what you want, you can chuck it all, not watch. But I mean, I am not trying to convince anybody of anything. I'm just, putting a few things out there that I've learned since I've been trading since the 70s that I think might be beneficial to others. And, I believe certain paths are more profitable than others. Yes, I have an opinion based on empirical evidence. But, that being said, um, I've pretty much ended uh, my debating and trying to convince other people because I'm not here to impose my will upon anybody. That's what's wrong with the world, and probably 95 or more percent of the problems in society can be attributed to one person or group trying to force their will upon another person or group. Shout out to you, Father Mike. Um, anyway, the other thing is, you know, if you think about it, why can't we just open up a chart, for example, you know, and before we open the chart, we make sure we have our money and risk management in place, and we just say, look, let's just take a look here. Why can't we decide right here at this level to either go long or go short? Why do we have to wait for it to reach a different level? Why can't we just decide right here and now? I mean, we could start all the way down with the M1 chart. Why can't we decide which way to go? Why do we have to wait? I mean, really, if it gets to one place, we can decide better which way it's going to go. I mean, is that what we're saying? I mean, think about that. Because without different lines on the chart, different dots or squigglies or whatever, how do we decide? I mean, before, laptop computers came along, how did people decide? They read the tape, right? That's what they did. They didn't have charts. They made some notes on the back of an envelope or in a notebook or something. Isn't that what they did? And for some weird reason, it appears my MT4 is frozen, but that's okay. We can still shoot the video even with the frozen MT4. But because the point is, why can't we decide right here and now which way price is going? Why do we wait for one level or another? Oh, there it goes. It just unfroze itself. So, I mean, can we go short here or should we go long? What should we do? Maybe some people say, anything below H1 is noise, but isn't that, H1 is made up of all these things. So if you have a bunch of noise, then it's still noise, right? That's why statements like that I find utterly ridiculous. So we started, I think it was 111.80. Now it's gone down 2 pips. So should we go short? I mean, we can't control what happens next, right? We can look at the M30 chart. Should we go short? Should we go long? That's really the question that we're always asking. If we're not in a trade, should we go short? Should we go long? So it's either short, long, or no. Don't enter the trade now. And the reason we don't enter the trade is because we have some belief that if we wait for it to get to a certain price, then it's going to exhibit a certain behavior. Now, is there some truth to that? Maybe, maybe not. Are we fooled by randomness? You tell me. As we look at this chart, are we fooled by randomness? I mean, really, are we? We can look at the weekly chart. Oh, and by the way, somebody said there was something going on with the weekly gap. Why does it say fill? And they looked at something and it wasn't filled. I'm gonna have to. You're gonna have to post a couple of things on that chart for me to really figure it out, because I haven't seen any problems with my feed. And let me know what broker you're using. I don't know if there's a problem with the data. Maybe you didn't have all the history filled in, and that's why it looked like it was still a gap. I don't know. But it's a pretty simple calculation. So, it's not always the program. Sometimes it's the data. In fact, I read something that I thought it was a pretty good thing. If you're in computers, you probably learned on day one or week one, or at least in the first course, garbage in, garbage out. And this guy, Seth Gordon, or Godin, he puts out some interesting things. I have to give him credit. And he said, why not garbage in, gorgeous out? And it makes you stop and think. It's like, yeah, why don't we build systems that, if somebody puts garbage in, instead of getting garbage, they get something gorgeous. I mean, you've got to think outside the box. Can't, use those restrictions. So anyway, yeah, I'll take another look at this, but you need to help me out with that. So why do we wait? I mean, that's part of trading, waiting. We're waiting for these opportunities, but we can't be fooled that if price, say, reaches this 112.06 level like it did, we can't be fooled to thinking that it's always going to go this way, because sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. So the best we can do is, so when we put the trade on, we employ our risk management, our stop loss. We have the position size, accordingly, and then we take it from there. Because we just sit back and we watch what happens, and we either take profit or we experience a loss. And if we experience a loss, that's just a one-time single event. Doesn't mean we need to go back and reinvent the wheel and start all over. That trade went against you. It happens. But you carry on with your system. And at the end of 100 trades, you look and see, am I up or am I down? And you can look, did I have some win streaks, some lose streaks? But overall, am I up or down? If you're up, then carry on. What, my wayward son, right? But if you're down, then, dig down. Did you actually follow the system, or did you airball a few trades? Shout out to my buddy Ben, also known as Airball. So you really have to analyze it, Did you have your mind right? We talked about that, I believe, yesterday. You got to have your mind right when you're trading. So you can't be jumping to conclusions and, getting crazy here. You can see range 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 over 100. And the yen kind of wanted to join that, but 98, not bad. You can see the buy zone. See, once again, you hit that short zone, probably got stopped out. You hit the buy zone here, came back, then it went up, and then you can see right here, you should have, once it dropped below that line, it's time to take a couple pip profit. You see here, there's the pivot point. It wasn't that, there really wasn't much to get there from the buy zone to the pivot. If you just went off the daily open, you had your 10, 12 pips. Not bad. You can see here, we had a trade short, bounced off the weekly open. Might have been a clue. Take your profit there. And you see here, we had a short, second attempt, and it paid off. In the rat zone. So get ready for a rat trade. And look at this. I think we covered some pivots here. Yeah, you see, we only have that one missed pivot right here. And that almost looks like it got covered. Let's see here. The pivot is 0.639. The low is 0.633. It looks like it should have covered it. Maybe I've got to refresh something here. Yep. Or no. Let's see. Missed pivots. Yeah, it covered it. So you see here, because that line's away, so we have covered that pivot. So we've got one more to cover here. And once again, price action. One ball at the top, red at the line. One ball at the bottom, green at the line. One ball at the top, red at the line. 3 ball at the bottom. We're still looking for a green at the line. Not difficult. But you see here, not fooling ourselves. Sometimes we win, sometimes we lose. It's not about the individual trade. It's about the aggregate over the long haul. And here we go. What do we do? See here, it was green at the line. You took the trade, didn't work out well. Took the trade at the line, it worked out. Sometimes you win, sometimes you don't. And the thing is, you have to realize that. So rather than sit there and do a bunch of analysis and try and change your system and tweak it, do I use, whatever, stochastics with a certain number or MACD with this? No, forget all that curve fitting nonsense. You look at your execution. Were you late? Were you slow? Were you on time? Did you have your proper money management? Most of the time, the problem isn't the system, it's the trader, because your mind isn't right. And here we go. As you can see, price, as always, doesn't like staying in the wick zone. So if you're in the wick zone, chances are price is going to leave. It might take it a few hours, but it still leaves. Holo zone set up. There's your highest open. There's the result. Here's your lowest open. There's the result. Price usually just retraces from that lowest and highest open. You see this stuff every day, traders. And you can see here, hasn't been doing much. IRBs, we had a long trigger there. Let's see, that's where it was put in. And you can see we didn't have a trigger. Daily, weekly, monthly, open, high, low. Once again, just candle color at the line. I'm beating a dead horse, right? You've seen it. You've heard it before. Einstein, when did you start? What did price do? Just remember, it's not what you trade. It's how you trade it. Drain the bank.